Okay, so let's move on to the next video where we will work a little more with print statements, which are our favorite. So in this case, we need to implement this heart attack function. And the heart attack function is implementing this decision tree. So we can see that let's see what the function is given. It's given age as an input argument, so this first argument is age, then it's given a weight. Wait a second. 45 kilos. I don't think there are many 30 years old who weigh 45 kilos, but in this example, apparently there is, we found one. So a 30-year-old who weighs 45 kilos and doesn't smoke. Smoking is false. The risk of a heart attack is low. I think it's low because that person sounds like he's actually a little bit of a mummy or something like that. But according to this classifier, it's not a great risk of dying from a heart attack. Let's try to see how we would implement this decision function, because there is a little bit of diagram that helps us. So in the first node we ask what the age is, and then depending on what range the age falls into, so in, for instance, 30, it would fall into this bracket, and then it's always just low risk. So apparently if you're 30 years old, below 30 years old, you're low risk. I'm unfortunately here, and in that case you look at whether a person is a smoker, and I'm not a smoker, so I would also be low risk. So that's actually really positive. If you are below 18, it depends on your weight. That's really strange. There's something a little bit funny with this diagram. I think it's supposed to be like an example diagram of classifying. I don't think this is actually providing very good medical information, but it's fine enough for this problem, I guess. So let's try to look at what happens if we solve this problem. So we need to basically check that for these values of the inputs, it should always say low. And I guess we need to open which file? Heart attack. So we get to heart attack. And then let's call it like this here. So we just get an example. And then let's try to implement the decision rule. So in that case, we just check the age, and that's always low risk to get this between 18 and 30. So if age, first input argument, is between 18 and 30, then I guess we should print out low risk, low. I guess just low here from the example, right? It just says low. So I guess that's what we need to print out. Okay, fine. That's, I guess, what we need to do. Let's check that worked. Oh, it didn't work. Because it executes this if-else statement, print out this stuff. We actually see that it does that here, and then it moves on, and then it gets to this error that tells us we need to implement something. And well, that's why we get a problem. Actually, we shouldn't print it out, we should return it. I didn't read it carefully. Return something that's a string, and the string needs to be low or high. Okay, so we shouldn't print it out, we should return it. Return low, and then let's print out whatever it says, like this. So we have something to look at. So now it seems to work correctly. Good. Let us try to do the other cases. Risk for a 60-year-old, 70 kg heavy smoking person. So I guess that risk is high because the person is a smoker and a little bit older. So if age is greater than 30 and smoker is true, like this, then we return high. So we can just check by manipulating the inputs. Here's the example. 60, 70. I mean, I guess the exact values doesn't matter that much. And then what we can actually also do if we consider the other case here, what do we need to change? Well, this is still going to be true. So what we could actually do here is that we could do two if statements like this, and now it would be equivalent to what we did before. But then what I could do is that I could say if smoker is false, then we return low, like this. And then I would have taken care of this alternative situation here, like this. Then let's do the last one. If age is less than 18, I guess, then it depends on the weight. So if it's less than 60, it's low, and otherwise it's going to be high. And again, there's like a lot of different ways you can implement the details of these if-else statements. You don't actually have to repeat low. You can, if you want, you can think really hard and carefully about how you could just do it in a single if-else statement that either returned low or high. But in this case, I did it a little bit more explicitly, which is often a good strategy to avoid bugs simply. And the single thing that I just noticed here is actually something in the problem, because we don't really know what happens if the person weighed 60 kilos exactly. So maybe the test will tell us whether we did it correctly, or maybe there's a bit of a problem here and we need to adjust. So I'm just going to see what the tests say. And the test said that this is fine. So the test probably doesn't consider exactly what happens at around 60 kilos. I think this is really a toy example for how you can determine if somebody has a heart attack. But we are trying to become engineers, not doctors, which I guess is maybe not the best attitude to have, and the EU is very concerned about data safety. But yeah, let's just move on to 3.9 in the next video.